All right, let's jump right in. We're about to explore a technology that lets us read the chemical makeup of pretty much anything, whether it's a drop of water here on Earth or a star that's millions of light years away. It's kind of like finding a unique barcode hidden inside the light of every single element.
I mean, have you ever really thought about that? It sounds impossible, right? We can't go there, we can't grab a sample, all we can do is look. So, how could an astronomer say with any confidence that a star is made of, say, hydrogen and helium?
Well, it turns out the secret is right there in the starlight itself. The light is literally carrying the answer across the universe to us. Every single element broadcasts its own signature, a kind of secret code that's embedded in the light it gives off. We just have to know how to read it. And that brings us to the first big idea, this concept of an element's unique light fingerprint. This is the whole foundation for an incredibly powerful way of analyzing the world around us. The technical name for it is atomic emission spectroscopy, or AES for short. At its heart, it's a way to figure out what an element is by looking at the specific light it spits out when you energize it. But here's the really powerful part. We can also figure out how much of that element is there, just by measuring how bright that light is. This is the perfect analogy. Just like no two human fingerprints are the same, no two elements give off the exact same pattern of light when they get heated up. You've seen this yourself. Think about those old yellow-orange streetlights. That intense glow comes from sodium. Or in a chemistry class, when you see copper burn, it has that unmistakable blue-green flame. Each one is a totally unique, unforgeable signature. So how do we get an element to show us its fingerprint? Well, first, you have to energize it. You basically just hit it with a ton of heat from a flame or a spark. This gets the atoms all jazzed up into what's called an excited state. But they can't stay hyped up forever, so when they calm back down, they release all that extra energy as light. And here's the crucial part. They don't just glow randomly. They release light only at very, very specific colors or wavelength. Okay, so we know this light fingerprint exists. But how does a machine actually read it with the kind of precision you need for real science? That brings us to the next part of the story, how we build the decoder. This quote, from a Reddit discussion of all places, gets right to the heart of the challenge. To get real, accurate, quantitative results, you can't just look at all the light at once. You have to be able to zoom in and isolate one very specific wavelength, the one that's going to give you the most sensitive reading for the element you're hunting for. And this shows you exactly what we're talking about. You start with something like white light, which is just a chaotic jumble of all the colors mixed together. But to do AES right, you need to filter all that chaos out and get down to just one pure color, what we call monochromatic light. You have to be surgical. And the hero component that does this job is called a monochromator. You can think of it like a really precise prism. It takes in all the light from the sample, spreads it out into a rainbow, and then lets the scientist pick just one single exact wavelength to pass on to the detector. So this little device is what turns a pretty light show into a precision scientific instrument. Now, this isn't just a cool lab trick. Reading these light fingerprints is a massive global industry with applications that touch, well, all of our lives. Just look at that number, $21.5 billion. That's what the global market for this technology is projected to be in 2033. This is not some niche thing. It's a cornerstone of modern science and industry. And it's not just big, it's growing like crazy. As you can see, the market is on this really strong upward trajectory. It's fueled by a booming demand for this kind of super precise analysis in all sorts of different fields. We're seeing steady, significant growth year after year. So why is it growing so fast? Because it's absolutely essential. We're talking about everything from checking for heavy metals in your drinking water to making sure the food you buy is safe to developing new medicines and high-tech materials. AS is the silent workhorse in the background, making sure things are what they claim to be. All right, now let's push this to the absolute frontier. What happens when you use this fundamental technique to analyze one of the most complex and intense states of matter in the entire universe, plasma? What you're looking at here is the inside of a fusion experiment at Los Alamos. Scientists are trying to control superheated plasma to generate clean energy. To do that, they have to know its temperature and density. But, you can't just stick a thermometer in there. It would be vaporized instantly. So what do? They look at the light it emits. And this is what they see. On the left, that's the raw data, just a simple pattern of bright lines. It doesn't look like much. But the magic happens on the right. That raw data gets processed into this detailed graph. By matching the exact position and brightness of those peaks to their physical models, scientists can pull out incredible information, like the precise temperature of that plasma. But when you're working at this level of science, it's never as simple as just getting one clean number. The data is messy, the models aren't perfect, and scientists have to deal with this fundamental problem of uncertainty. So here's the key takeaway. When you're on the cutting edge, the answer you're looking for isn't just a single value anymore. It's really a range of possibilities that's been clouded by tiny errors in the measurement, the noise, and small imperfections in the scientific models themselves. So this is the modern solution, and it's brilliant. Instead of trying to force the messy data to give them one perfect answer, scientists use advanced statistics to create a probability map like this one. That bright yellow area shows the most likely temperature and density, but all the surrounding colors show other plausible values too. The answer isn't a single point on a map, it's an entire landscape of possibility. Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. This whole journey, from figuring out what stars are made of to mapping probabilities inside a fusion reactor, has been about one thing: getting better at reading fainter and more complex signals. The next frontier isn't just about finding cleaner answers. It's about getting better at understanding the uncertainty itself, and maybe even discovering the new questions that are still hiding, right?